a cheap roadside motel called the Hacienda sits in uneasy silence. When the police arrive, they find one of America's most famous singers, Sam Cooke, dead on the floor of the motel office. The manager, Bertha Franklin, tells them she shot him in self-defense. Then she says he staggered, looked at her, and said his final words, "Lady, you shot me." Sam Cooke was just 33 years old. Sam Cooke was born in Clarksdale, Mississippi on January 22, 1931. The fifth of 8 children, his father, Reverend Charles Cooke, was a Baptist minister, and his mother, Annie Mae, the rock of their family. And in 1933, the family moved north to Chicago, part of the Great Migration, chasing opportunity and escaping the Deep South's brutal segregation. In Chicago's Bronzeville neighborhood, Sam's voice began to bloom. People said his voice was too smooth for gospel, too sweet, too perfect, but it was divine. And when he joined the Soul Stirrers, one of the most respected gospel groups in the country, Sam Cooke became a star, at least in the church world. But inside, something was changing. The crowds were getting bigger and the applause louder, and Sam began to wonder. In 1957, Sam made a decision that would shock the gospel world. He left the Soul Stirrers and stepped into pop. He added the letter E to the end of his name, saying it gave his name a little more style, a little more soul. His first single, You Send Me, exploded. It hit number 1 on both the pop and R&B charts, selling over 2 million copies. Suddenly, The Boy Preacher had become a crossover sensation. White teenagers and black churchgoers were all buying the same record. That was unheard of. But not everyone was celebrating. Many gospel fans felt betrayed, that Sam had traded faith for fame. What they didn't see, though, was that Sam Cooke wasn't just chasing stardom, he was chasing freedom. He wanted to own his music, to own his future, and that meant breaking the rules and rewriting them. By the early 1960s, Sam Cooke wasn't just a singer, he was an empire unto his own. He founded his own record label and his own publishing company. That was revolutionary. Most artists, especially black artists, didn't own a cent of their work. And he began mentoring young acts like Bobby Womack and the Valentinos, and fighting for better contracts for everyone in his circle. But while his business was soaring, the country around him was changing fast. The civil rights movement was in full swing, and Sam, the smooth, smiling crooner, started to feel the weight of responsibility. He was inspired by Bob Dylan's Blowing in the Wind. If Dylan could sing about injustice, why couldn't he? So Sam wrote his own song, raw, aching, prophetic. He called it A Change Is Gonna Come. He only performed it once before his death, but the words, "It's been a long, long time coming," would outlive him, becoming one of the most powerful anthems of the civil rights era. But as his star rose, so did the danger. Sam's life looked golden. Hit records, sold out shows, money rolling in, but behind the music, there were fractures. His personal life was turbulent. He lost his infant son in a drowning accident. He struggled with infidelity, grief, and the loneliness of fame. He was reading Malcolm X, studying black history, thinking deeply about race and power in America. He wasn't just an entertainer anymore, he was becoming a businessman and a black man with real leverage, and that, in 1964, was dangerous. Some say Sam was about to start a major record distribution company that would compete directly with the white-owned labels dominating the industry. Others claim he was working with Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali on political projects. We may never know how close he was, but one thing is clear, Sam Cooke was no longer playing by the industry rules. And just when he was about to change the game completely, it ended. On the evening of December 10th, 1964, Sam Cooke checked into the Hacienda Motel with a woman named Eliza Boyer. Hours later, she ran from the room wearing only a coat, claiming Sam had tried to assault her. She said she fled, took his clothes by mistake, and sought help. Sam, half-dressed, went after her, banging on the doors, shouting for her to return his things. He eventually reached the motel office where Bertha Franklin worked the night desk. Moments later, the gunshot.
And how far was Mr. Cooke away from you when you started shooting?
He wasn't too far. He was at close range.
And how many times did you fire this pistol?
3 times.
And do you know whether you struck, or did you know you struck Mr. Cooke?
Yes, 'cause he said, later you shot me.
But when police examined the scene, the inconsistencies piled up. Sam had a broken nose, bruised fists, and injuries that suggested a struggle before the shooting. His wallet and watch were missing, yet the case was ruled justifiable homicide. And so, a legend died in a motel office, his legacy sealed in mystery. In the years that followed, Sam Cooke's influence only grew. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, honored as the father of soul, and cited by artists from Aretha Franklin to Otis Redding to Marvin Gaye. And yet his death remains one of music's great unsolved stories. Some call it a tragic accident, others whisper about conspiracies, silencing a man who dared to own too much and say too much. Maybe the truth lies somewhere in between, but one thing's for certain, Sam Cooke was far more than a voice. He was a revolution in a suit. Sam Cooke once said, "If I shall help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain." He didn't just change the sound of music, he changed who controlled it, who profited from it, and who could speak through it. His voice was silenced that night in Los Angeles, but his song, it never stopped, because some songs never fade, they just wait to be heard again.